Peng Long, a boxer from Hong Kong, was sent by his uncle to help a Chinese restaurant in trouble. Restaurant owner Chen Qinghua is under pressure from the local gang. The gang boss wants to seize the property by sending thugs to harass them day and night, driving away customers and sending the restaurant's business plunging. Although the staff know a few karate moves, they are all show and no substance. They had little faith in Tang Long, the country bumpkin from the countryside, and some even mocked Chinese kung fu as weak and flimsy. Tang Long said nothing in response. Amid the crowd's egging on, he was asked to show what it means to unite the waist and stance. After a brief warm-up, a few simple side kicks already sent the air whistling. Then, he drove power from his waist through his legs. And a stepping side kick landed squarely on an apprentice wearing heavy padding. The massive impact sent him flying several meters. He pulled the strike, leaving the apprentice unharmed. But everyone there already understood. A true killer move is never shown lightly. Soon, trouble came knocking again, as the gang thugs returned to the restaurant to stir things up. The staff were furious and moved the fight to the back alley. Jimmy, the first to step up, was knocked out by a punch before he could even set his stance. The thugs burst into reckless laughter. Tang Long's gaze turned cold. He stepped forward and signaled for them all to come at once. The bearded leader sneered in disdain. But he never even saw Tang Long's move clearly. A precise probing side kick struck him in the abdomen. It was followed by a sweeping dragon tail kick that knocked him flat. The other thugs were instantly enraged and surged forward. But to Tang Long, their attacks were full of openings. He moved lightly, slipping and dodging with ease, landing punches and kicks precisely on each man's weak points. Within seconds, all the thugs were on the ground, unable to move. He made the practical power of Chinese kung fu clear in the most direct way. That lesson brought the restaurant a brief period of peace. The staff began to sincerely train under Tang Long. But the gang boss was not done yet. One night, Tang Long and Chen Qinghua were on their way home. A gunman was already lying in wait inside the house. Facing the dark muzzle of the gun, Tang Long showed no fear. With a flick of his wrist, he sent a dart flying and cleanly knocked the pistol out of his hand. He closed in and, after a few heavy punches, he used a scissors kick to pin the gunman completely in place. He dumped the unconscious gunman and the gun onto the street. It was a silent warning. But the warning only brought fiercer retaliation. The next day, the gang boss personally led his men and took over the whole restaurant at gunpoint. To protect the others, Tang Long could only surrender. He was taken outside, ready to be taught a lesson. But the moment he stepped outside and out of the line of fire, he suddenly sprang into action. He punched out the bearded man beside him and grabbed a long staff on the way, knocking the other two to the ground. He took off his shirt and revealed his nunchaku. Facing the enemies rushing out from inside, he became a whirlwind. The nunchaku cut through the minions at tricky angles and with astonishing speed, dropping them one by one. He slipped back into the front hall. By listening for their positions, he pinpointed the only armed man. Another dart, and in the blink of an eye, the gun hit the floor. Seeing the tide turn against him, the gang boss turned to run, but Tang Long's nunchaku caught his wrist. He was dragged back. Faced with overwhelming force, the gang boss had no choice but to submit. Repeated defeats drove the gang boss completely mad. He had snipers deployed. They planned to assassinate Tang Long at night. However, at the very moment the bullet was fired, Tang Long happened to stand up and close the window, and the bullet barely skimmed the frame. The gunshot gave away his position. Tang Long instantly pinpointed the building where he was hiding. He shot out like a cheetah. The sniper kept firing, but still could not stop him. By the time Tang Long burst in, the sniper's magazine was empty. A dart plunged into the sniper's thigh, ending the chase. Meanwhile, Chen Qinghua was kidnapped. He Shu, the gang's collaborator and translator, used rescuing her as a pretext. He lured Tang Long and the others out to a desolate wasteland. 2 karate masters invited from Japan had already been waiting here for some time. Guys, your skills have improved, but you're still no match for a real professional fighter. Tang Long stopped holding back and took on one of them first. He feinted with a switch kick, then caught his leg and threw him down. Finally, he smashed a heavy punch into a vital spot, completely taking him out of the fight. The other Japanese expert attacked first. But Tang Long effortlessly deflected every attack and quickly countered with a lethal strike. Tang Long led his men back to the gang's stronghold. He used darts to take out the armed guard and rushed inside, and dealt with every thug still putting up resistance. The crime boss was utterly desperate. He finally realized ordinary tactics would not work against Tang Long. So he set the final killing trap. He spent a fortune to bring in karate world champion Chuck Norris, and set the duel in the ancient Roman Colosseum. This was a life-or-death fight with no rules. Before the bout, the two warmed up separately. Tang Long's lats were knotted like steel cables, showing astonishing explosive power. With a wildcat serving as referee, the duel began. In the first round, Tang Long probed with a series of side kicks, striking hard. But Norris's defense was solid, always slipping away by inches. And he seized the opening with a spinning kick that knocked Tang Long down. In the second round, Tang Long was pinned down by his opponent's fierce combinations and over-the-shoulder throws, and sent to the floor again. He even ended up pulling out a tuft of the man's chest hair. That little move completely enraged the champion. Norris kept pressing the attack, battering Tang Long until he could barely fight back. He held the upper hand now, a victor's smile on his lips. But he didn't know the lead in this cat-and-mouse game was about to change hands. Tang Long stood up. His eyes changed and his steps grew light and elusive, like a cat preparing to hunt. He began to read Norris's attack rhythm, and to study his habits while dodging. Norris found that his heavy punches and kicks could no longer touch this slippery opponent. The momentum shifted in an instant. Tang Long launched his counterattack, his punches and kicks fast as lightning, and the mix of feints and real strikes left Norris completely unable to adapt. Under Tang Long's relentless assault, Norris was driven back step by step, and knocked down time after time. He tried to copy Tang Long's footwork, but only learned the shape, not the spirit. Soon, he was badly battered and went down. Pride as a champion forced him back to his feet. But Tang Long answered with even sharper, more ruthless strikes. One heavy blow disabled his arm. Then a leg lock took out his leg. Norris had lost all ability to fight back. Tang Long stopped. A trace of respect between martial artists flashed in his eyes. However, Norris refused to give in. He dragged his battered body into one last, futile charge. With no other choice, Tang Long had to step in. A chokehold ended the champion's life. He felt no joy at winning. He simply picked up the GI from the ground and gently laid it over his opponent as a final mark of respect. After this fight, the crime boss finally submitted, and the restaurant crisis was over. Tang Long had fulfilled his mission and set off on his journey back to Hong Kong.